Wilcox Ranch POA exposed concerning the dozer belonging to Wilcox Ranch Property Owners Association. Okay, this is an email chain uh, with Jeffrey Earl Hill on December 11th, 2023. Now, mind you, Jeffrey Earl Hill has submitted papers adverse to the existence of the POA, and at this time he was a director. So December 11th, 2023, he sends me this email. Out West Buildings has offered to remove the old dozer as they would like to restore it. I will tell them to move forward with this unless I hear otherwise. They will move it for free of charge. Okay, and I responded back, no, you won't. Okay, now he's already adverse to this association saying it doesn't exist, and he's acting as an officer, attempting to give this thing away when there's a major dispute going on with titles in Wilcox Ranch. So I say, no, you won't, and he smarts off, okay, I will let them know to pick it up. Okay, you know, being a smart ass. And I wrote back, I said, no, you have no authority. I will call sheriff. Point taken, neither do you. Well, that's funny. You voted me in, Jeffrey Earl Hill. Okay? So you tell me I don't have any association or any authority. Well, you're trying to dispose of property of the members' property at Wilcox Ranch. So I go down right here. I wrote, I'm not the one attempting to dispose of members' property, get rid of court evidence. I didn't know it was evidence. Last time it was brought up, you said the property and want it removed. I thought getting it removed for free was a good idea. Well, you thought wrong. There's a big dispute going on with this dozer, tax deductions and all kinds of stuff. James Lee Schreck donated this dozer, and apparently it was used to grade the roads. And Bob and Natalie Naring and Mr. Mooseguard broke it and left it abandoned on somebody's property, and then refused to give us the parts to fix it. I got under there, crawled under there, and took the broken bolts out and was asking where the part was, and they refused to give it to me. Now there's a whole nother video regarding the dozer. Okay, but this is the part with Jeffrey Earl Hill. You know, he's trying to act like all innocent. He's a co-actor. Okay, part of the racketeering of Wilcox Ranch Property Owners Association. So I want to show what's going on here. So he sends this email chain. So we went down there. Let's see right here. There's another one. Then it was sent back, and this was sent to the POA. Please be advised that we are currently in litigation over the status of the POA. The bulldozer is a POA asset. Any attempt to move, take, claim, or tamper with in any way will be dealt with in both civil and criminal charges. You are duly noticed. Okay, that was sent to everybody. And then, so we went down there and we pasted these signs up with some heavy glue, really heavy glue, these two no trespassing signs after this. And then the next day, they were ripped off of there. Okay, they jerked them off. And I mean, this was heavy duty glue. So they pulled those off. So I went and made a sheriff's report due to the other things that were going on in this association and the threats and all kinds of stuff and the false claims of it not being legit, the association, even though the adverse parties voted a perpetuity in. And I made a sheriff's report here. And so here's the actual report. And this was done on 12/12/2023. Okay, so suspicious circumstances. Okay, when did you see it happen? 12/12. Let's see here. Then it says, where did it take place? Approximately 3,000 block Wilcox Ranch Road. Tampering with association property, specifically D7 dozer. What? As Secretary Treasurer of Wilcox Ranch POA, I was contacted by the member Jeff Hill, who is currently an adverse party to the association on 12/11/23. See email communications attached. His email stated it was his intention to give away the dozer, which is member association property. Clearly, I told him no and advised him of the current litigation notice from Wilcox Ranch email. Signs were posted with heavy glue, and then the next day after noticing him, they were removed. This deserves evidence of an ongoing dispute with former officers, members of POA, currently in litigation with other suits pending. See previous attach of initial case in 2021 and reference number Attorney General's Office complaint number 46481. Okay, so this initial case was in 2021 after Jeffrey Earl Hill and the other members placed me into the Secretary Treasurer's position. And then when I got the books and records, I saw what was going on with all the checks and the money. And I made a report to the sheriffs about it because there was a lot of stuff in there with the checks that didn't add up. So I made this initial case. Okay, and this Attorney General is a case number that was given to the Attorney Generals with a criminal claim. Okay, so here's a report number 230050906. Okay, here's the signs you can see that were posted up. You can even see some of the glue here. Okay, then these are upside down. That's the sheriff's report. And then I put in the email communication of the sheriffs about it. Same thing I showed there. Please be advised that we are currently in litigation on the status of the POA. Okay, now this was the original case number when I first discovered the irregularities with the monies of Wilcox Ranch Property Owners Association that had been operated by Robert and Natalie Nearing for the past approximately 15 years. So this was done on September 1st, 2021, shortly after I was elected in July 15th or 17th of 2021. And I made this report here. Okay. And I was telling them I have a USB with the checks, as this file is very large. Also, we were working on the boxes of files that I have in my possession. Okay, so that's all. This is James LeVar, Investigative Assistant, Washoe County Sheriff's Office. But then you'll see here, this is the next day that somebody went down there and ripped these off. And I mean, that glue was heavy. One was here and one was here. Okay, then I want to go show here. This is a manager change in the history right here that's highlighted. This was on 2/5/2024. Jeffrey Earl Hill resigned as a director. He didn't tell us about it, but we found this through the Secretary of State's website that he resigned without telling me about it. But there it is right there. And so on 2/5/2024, he resigns. And so then he decided that he was an owner of my property, and he decided to go out there with his bobcat and other equipment and start cutting into my property and doing work on it like he owned the place. After he has knowledge about all my signs and no trespassing, he has knowledge about my land patent claim on the property, everything else, he decided that he would start grading and damaging my property. Okay? And so I sent him, he admits right here, a simple thank you for keeping the road passable suffice. Well, you're no longer part of the association after you resigned. You don't have the insurance. You're not a grading contractor, and I did not give you authority to work on my property interests, period. Okay, you trespassed and you damaged my property. Okay, you tore it up and cut 3 to 5 foot, taking more property, cutting it all up, and you admit it. And I sent you this here, 171 pages of cease and desist, admission to your damages. Okay, and then after that, after I told him about what he did, I told him, provide me with your personal insurance policy within 10 days. Provide your contractor license number. Provide me with your grading permit. Provide me with your survey of the roadway along 405 Wilcox Ranch Road, because he continues to keep cutting my road, moving it further onto our property. when he knows there's a problem there. Okay, you are adverse to my title rights. I don't appreciate your damage to the road by your 5-foot cutout damage pushing the roadway further up on property. I don't appreciate and I will not tolerate you and your co-actors waiting till I'm not around and then damaging my property rights in light of your co-actor and adverse party, James Lee Schreck, threats to bury me while showing a firearm in which you were noticed about. Stop your escalation. Stop conspiring to defraud property owners' rights. Get a court order. Feel free to send it out to everyone and provide them copies of your perpetuity vote and your cause filing of a perpetual existence under notary seal. Also provide them with the liens filed by Kern and Associates. That way there will be 80 times quiet title suits. Don't forget your video from the last meeting where I noticed you about my property rights and the embezzling by the former operators, one of which you were a director. Okay, so this guy, Jeffrey Earl Hill, needs to be looked at. He's a co-actor, adverse to Wilcox Ranch Property Owners Association. Stand by.